Hello there, beautiful friends from around the world. I am Blackenfist, and man, is it about time they finally did this. I was beginning to think that this would never actually happen. But not only is Battle of Gods finally coming to North America, it is actually going to be debuting in theaters. That by itself blows my mind. Considering how long it's taken for Battle of Gods to come out here, and that Battle of Gods has pretty much been released in pretty much every single other territory. I mean, Battle of Gods has gotten theater releases from Europe, to Asian countries, to Bolivia, to Latin American countries. It's pretty much gotten theater releases worldwide already, except into the United States. So I was beginning to doubt that the Battle of Gods would ever come out here in the theaters, and what I was thinking was that when Battle of Gods did finally come out, it was going to come out strictly straight to DVD and Blu-ray. But thank goodness I was wrong. Battle of Gods is coming to US theaters later on this year in August. And boy oh boy am I excited for this shit. Funimation pulled it off, man. It's going to be a limited theater release. They say that over 350 screenings of the movie will be shown throughout the country. And by the way, guys, I have not, still to this day, even though I am a Dragon Ball freak, I'm a Dragon Ball guru, I'm a Dragon Ball fanboy, I still have not seen Battle of Gods. I have not read any summaries. I know a little bit of the details, but for the most part, I have abstained from tasting its fruit. And mainly that's because I was hoping something like this would happen. That Battle of Gods would come to the US in theaters, and I wanted a fresh experience when I walk into that theater. I was beginning to think it would never happen, but you know what? It finally did. And this is exactly what I've been waiting for since I ever watched Evolution, which was one of the biggest disappointments in my Dragon Ball fandom. And you know, something else I found very interesting was that I was beginning to worry that because of the involvement of 20th Century Fox, it was going to handicap Funimation in their negotiation for that movie, which is, by the way, one of the big reasons why it took so long to get this movie out. If you guys don't know, 20th Century Fox has the rights to any Dragon Ball property shown in theaters, and not to mention 20th Century Fox also had in hand in the production of the movie in the first place. So 20th Century Fox pretty much has its hands in the project, and I was beginning to fear that 20th Century Fox was not going to allow Funimation to dub the movie, or was not going to allow the release of the movie at all, which would have been an enormously disappointing thing to happen. I was very surprised that Funimation was able to get their voice cast in for this movie, because the longer and longer this was going on, I was beginning to fear that 20th Century Fox might bring its own original voice cast just for this movie. And as a fan of the English dub, and I think for most English dub fans, it would have been very disappointing to see a completely new cast change just for that movie. I am very glad that Funimation hanged in there to negotiate with 20th Century Fox, and they somehow did it, and the right voice cast is doing the movie. I mean, all my worst fears were pretty much nullified. The fact that it wasn't coming out in theaters, it is. The fact that the voice cast might be completely different because of the involvement of 20th Century Fox, that is completely wrong. It would have been better maybe to have a widespread release of the movie instead of a limited release, but you know what? I can't really blame Funimation. The fact that it's even coming out in theaters is enough for me. And I understand that Funimation is definitely putting a lot of investment into this movie by having it come out even in a limited theater release. So guys, to all the Dragon Ball fans out there, guys, if you support Dragon Ball, if you're a fan, I urge you, there is a local showing of this movie, I mean, I shouldn't even have to convince you to go see this movie. You as a fan should be already freaking out and anticipating going to see this movie in theaters. But definitely, this is one of those times where I hope the fans really, really do turn out to support this release. Because Funimation is doing something, I think, a little bigger by doing a theater's release of a movie, which is something that they usually don't do. And there is talks, guys, about doing a sequel to this Battle of Gods movie. That is not very far-fetched. That is not some far-fetched thing that might happen. It is a very real possibility that Toei Animation might do another movie, as Battle of Gods did do very well in Japan, and it did even better from what I have gathered internationally. So, if Battle of Gods does good in the US, in theaters, and if there is a sequel, there might be a very good chance that that sequel might also get a theater release, and who knows, it might get a widespread release when that movie comes out. But it all really depends on how good this movie performs in its limited theater release here in the US. Of course, Funimation is not going to invest in something that the fans aren't supporting, but you know what, I really do think the fans are going to come out to support this one. I don't see how they can't. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts, and I am now eagerly anticipating to see this movie. And of course, guys, I know many of you have asked me on my thoughts on what I think about Battle of Gods, and I have ignored them just for the simple fact that I have not seen Battle of Gods. And I hate to disappoint you guys, but I wasn't really going to go look at Battle of Gods or look at a subbed version of it, because I did have other plans in mind. But once I see the movie, guys, I'll definitely come out with a review, and I'll share my thoughts with you guys. But as always, guys, I am Blackenfist, and I'm out, man.